Hi, my name is Josie, and I'm here to talk about a very touchy subject, renting versus buying property. Now, I would suggest to anyone who's in the market of renting or buying a home, or a condo, or a duplex, or whatever, that it's always best to buy. In the long run, owning your own property is the American dream. It's one of the best investments that you could ever have. But I feel like there's an exception to the rule, and this applies to active military, especially young military couples or individuals who know that they are only going to be residing in a particular area for a very brief moment. More specifically, like a couple of months or maybe a year. If you know that you're going to be relocating, I do not think it's a very wise decision to buy. Not right now. Right now in 2010, we're in an economic crisis. The unemployment rate has tripled. Yes, it is a buyer's market, but who's buying? People can't afford the homes that are on the market. Being in the military, if you're only going to be here a couple of months, you buy a home. If you know that we're already in an economic crisis right now, you know that people aren't buying. Say you get orders and you have to move. What are the chances that the few people that are buying are going to buy your home? Very slim. So that means not only are you probably making a very small amount of money, especially if you're an E3 or below, but now you're facing paying two mortgages. You're facing paying a mortgage here, and you're facing paying rent or another mortgage wherever else you decide to reside. That's impossible. How can you live like that? I would not recommend to any young military couple or individual to buy a home if they know they're only going to be residing in a specific area for 6 months or a couple months or a year. By the time you're in that home, you're going to have to turn around and put it back on the market. Who has time for that? You guys are always in and out. To put that type of stress on yourselves when you already have to worry about taking care of a country, you have that on your shoulders. You have taken care of yourself, taking care of your brother next to you when you guys are out there doing God knows what. You don't need to worry about, oh my God, now I got to get home and sell my home because now I have new orders and I have to be on the next plane in the next couple of weeks. You don't need that kind of stress. I suggest the best route is to rent. By renting, you afford so many other options. By renting, you can, if you have to move, you can do that. You have a property manager to take care of all of your landscaping. If anything breaks, you put your work order in, it's fixed. It's not your stress. If you have to break your lease, most apartment complexes have property managers and they have clauses in their lease especially for you, especially for military, that say that if you get orders and you have to leave, bam, you can do that. No strings attached, you don't owe any money, you pack your stuff up and you go, you move on, and you don't have the stress of worrying about, oh my God, now how am I going to sell my home? Oh my God, I have to move in 2 weeks. What am I going to do? You already have enough to worry about. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I know that in the long run, yes, I would encourage anyone to buy a home. But if you know you're only going to be residing for a couple of months or even a year, I would recommend that you rent. I do not recommend that you buy a home. I do not recommend that you put yourself in that kind of debt. It's so young and such in the beginning of a career where you're always having to relocate and move around. I do not recommend that. You have enough stress. We thank you for serving our country. It doesn't make sense to put yourself in that kind of debt and that kind of hole. It makes sense to rent. Let your property management take care of all your needs and worries. And when it's time for you guys to move on to your next duty station, you pack your stuff up, you move on. That's my suggestion. I think it's a very good one. Thank you. Any questions?